This is WavyBoyproductions, and today I want to talk about producers should not get paid. Now, I was listening to Super Freaky Girl by Nicki Minaj, which at the moment is number 8 on Billboard. The song made me think, would this song be a hit without the effort of the producers? One can argue that the beat is more important than the lyrics, or vice versa, or that they're equally important. Whichever the case may be, you can't deny the importance of the beat and the vibe it gives the song. Despite clear evidence of producers' contributions, there's still somewhat of a misconception that recording artists is more important or more worthy of authorship. That being said, let's get to the question or statement at hand. Should producers get paid for their work? Should they have royalties? The song-making process determines authorial rights to a song, which in turn defines the revenue streams that authors will receive. An author is defined as the person or entity who creates the work. This can be the creator of a musical composition, the musical arrangement, the lyrics, or a combination of any of them. A song has two main parts, the lyrics and the musical composition. One person can create a song, but more often than not, it's a team. Although a song might be written and composed before a studio session, the song is transformed into a new artistic creation during the session, relying on the skills of the producer. Let's take a moment to talk a little bit about musical instruments. The way the different musical instruments affect you in the different parts of your being. Every instrument is a combination of many sounds called the fundamental and the overtones. The fundamental is the loudest sound that the instrument makes. The overtones are higher sounds related mathematically to the fundamental. It is the overtones that make a violin sound differently from a flute, or a trumpet sound differently from a piano. Without the overtones, all instruments will sound exactly the same. In fact, without the overtones, your voice will sound exactly like my voice. The fundamental sound of an instrument will affect your body. The instrument's specific set of overtones affect the auric layers of the field around the body. I'll go into this more into detail in another video, but in short term, instruments affect the chakras in our bodies. The first chakra I'm going to go over is the root chakra, which is the sacral and abdominal chakra, which includes the belly, diaphragm, and emotional and psychic abilities. This is called the gut feeling, as some people would like to call it. These instruments that affect the lower part of the body are the drums, the cello, the trombone, the tuba, and the bassoon, and other low instruments. The heart involves our experience with compassion and love. Instruments that affect the heart area are strings, think heartstrings, English horn, viola, the French horn, and the high range of cello. The next chakra we're going to go over is the throat chakra. The throat center involves communication and creative expression. Instruments that affect the throat area are clarinet, oboe, and violin. The next chakra we're going to go over is the brow center, which is the third eye, and this is the home of insight and perception. Instruments that affect this area include the flute, the oboe. The next chakra we're going to go over is the crown center, which is where we experience the feeling of bliss and spirituality and spiritual connection. Instruments that affect the crown chakra are tinkling bells, crystal bowls, and high-pitched sounds. One of the most incredible instruments I have found for the crown chakra is a SongPod. You can find out more about the details in the description. I'm going to leave a link for you. We also have instruments that affect the entire body because it has a wide range of sounds. These instruments are the concert harp, the guitar, the piano, and carefully voiced synthesizers, or any kind of like choirs or orchestras and stuff like that. Those things affect the whole part of the body. The harp is the purest tone because of the way the strings are set with one note per string. This instrument vibrates a whole human organism. It also creates perfect overtones. The classical guitar resonates the body from belly to the crown, especially the belly, the solar plexus, and the heart. The piano affects the entire body because of its range. Because of its thickness and tautness of its strings, the piano does not create a perfect harmonic like the harp. So that's just a little taste of how important the beat is, or the producer, to the creation process. To make a beat, it takes time and energy. They say time is money, so if you gave someone your time, you are giving them money or losing money if you're not getting anything in return. Now, producers didn't always get paid for their work. Selecting a producer for a project is critical because the way a song is recorded, arranged, and edited can greatly affect its outcome, since there are endless possibilities. Thus, an artist usually selects a producer that will create a song that fits within the artist's vision. Some producers choose to only be a part of the creative process, opting to have the engineer handle the technical side of things and recording of the sounds. Usually the engineer gets paid for their service. Did you know that early producers began as artists or A&Rs? A&Rs are a record company's executive. Their job is to find, sign, and guide talent, match songs to singers, and run recording sessions, which is also one of the roles of a producer. The overlapping roles of an A&R and a producer further complicate the issue because A&Rs are typically the label's employees and producers are generally not, which results in different pay schemes. Producers are devalued in the music industry because of the various misconceptions that arise from their undefined role. Historically, producers worked for labels, and the labels paid them a salary. At some point, producers started to get royalties, which became a contention in the industry. They started hating, basically. Typically, producers are compensated in the following two ways: flat rate payments and/or royalties. A producer commonly negotiates between 2 to 4% album sales royalties. Depending on the producer's prestige, he might receive an advance from the label. Labels strategically transition the hiring of producers to artists. But contracting directly with artists forces producers to wait for the labels to recoup for the artist's advance before the producer can receive any royalties. This business model worked when labels were still hiring producers for full albums. But digital access to music changed the practice and the way producers make money. In some cases, producers are in the trenches with the artist creating the main product. So producers should be afforded the same revenue streams as the artists. The producer's business model is constantly changing and evolving to maintain profitability. Let's take a moment to salute to music producer Snuff Garrett, aka Thomas Leslie Garrett. Snuff worked with Liberty Records and made them millions of dollars through the records he produced. Yet he was only paid a small salary in comparison. He bravely asked the label's president for a 1-cent royalty per record. While 1 cent seems rather insignificant, it was an outrageous request at the time that almost got him fired. Yet the label granted his request because of his undeniable value. This was the start of producers' royalties. Revenue streams have shifted from physical or digital sales to live performances. This cuts money-making options for producers. Unless they're hired to produce a live album or DJ shows for the artists to ensure more consistent revenue, some producers participate in writing the song, allowing collection of publishing royalties. Producers do not have statutory rights, and producers without bargaining power are expected to work for free to garner recognition and power. Producers also have to fight for what's rightfully theirs. Let's talk about the A&P Act. What is the Allocation for Music Producers Act, and how does it help producers? The Allocation for Music Producers Act provides royalty payouts for producers and engineers when their recordings are played on satellite and on online radio stations. The affected parties had to apply through artists for these payments before, a process that was extremely often complicated. It should be noted that the A&P Act did not create a new right when it was passed as a part of 2018's Music Modernization Act. Producers and engineers continued to collect any royalties that were previously due. However, the A&P Act established a legal procedure to collect royalties directly from Sound Exchange rather than the artist in question. This formalized the process that had already been in place, giving producers and engineers who worked on recordings before 1995 the ability to apply for direct royalty payments. Now, the AMP Act is actually the first time producers and engineers have ever been mentioned inside of the copyright law. This shows the vital role producers play in music creation and acknowledgement of emerging trends in the way music